Hi, I'm Eileen Roche from Designs and Machine Embroidery, and I am thrilled to be here today. It is the July door reveal. And I have to tell you, this is a personal favorite of mine because it's really a shout out to my childhood and to every favorite vacation that I've enjoyed through the years. So before we get started, I have some other details that I want to show you. I most certainly want to welcome everyone. I see we have quite a few people here from all over. We have Cindy King from Odessa, Texas, and Susan Tenero. She used your lace charms to make 3 sizes of feathers for a pair of earrings to match your top. I love that. You know, it's easy jewelry, isn't it? And, you know, as long as you have thread, you can whip up something really quickly to do, to match whatever you want to match. And hi, Arlene from Wisconsin. Thanks for joining us. It seems like it's a pretty nice day all over the country, which is great. I know here in Texas, it's hot, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And then here we have Carla Navarez in sunny Florida. And I think someone else is in Palm Beach. Boy, you never know where people are going to join in from. So make sure you just let us know in the chat. And hi, Miss Lombard, which I still think is Carol, but I'm not really sure. Someday maybe she'll type in her whole name so I know. So before we get started, I'm going to switch over to PowerPoint and show you the doors that we've already done. I know if you're following along, this is not new to you. We had January, February, March, and April. And as you can see, each of the doors depicts a seasonal theme. And it, you know, it's a different door, a different building, a different door. And in May, we did a hospital. And then in June, I did a shout out to, you know, brides to be. This could be a secret garden. It could be a church, you know, it's just your imagination. And we had so many different versions of these doors. And, you know, it's not too late to join along. You can still download all of the doors from January through July. And so, you know, if you have neglected to get started, do it. It's an awful lot of fun. And then when you're done, you'll have 12. You'll have something for every month of the year, which is really fun. I know some people are not mounting them on these stands. Rather, they are using them and going to put them into a quilt. So good for them. I can't wait to see what that's going to look like. I've had a lot of different ideas myself about that. So this week's special is about sticky hoops, which is a brand new hoop for dime. And I told you that, well, in my blog, I mentioned it's a whole new line and they're not magnetic. So it is a flat metal hoop that has been designed specifically to use with sticky stabilizer, adhesive tear away or adhesive wash away. And the reason that we came up with a different hoop was that we needed to make sure that the protective suede that is normally on the back of our monster hoops was removed. And we wanted to include it with sticky stabilizer. So let's go on over to camera B so you can take a look at how it comes. Right now, we only have 2 models that are available. We have a 5x7 and a 6x10 for Baby Lock Brother. And the reason that we started in that fashion was because we want to make sure, you know, that people like it. We didn't come out with the entire line. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up right here on camera so you can see how it's packaged and what's inside. You know, it's always very risky to do this kind of thing on camera because you never know how much I'm going to fumble with shrink wrap or packaging, right? So I'll just use my scissors to go ahead and peel that off. But it has a very nice chipboard in here to keep it stiff so that when it ships, it isn't damaged. So it's going to come with that flat hoop and the attachment, and then also 25 sheets of tearaway sticky stabilizer that is cut specifically for this board, this hoop. Here are the 2 different sizes of refill packs. So I'll set these aside. And of course, it comes with our centering rulers, right? Our adhesive centering rulers. And we're definitely going to want to apply that to the hoop. So in order to do that, you can place it under PAL, and you can go to my blog and download the crosshair that we use for monster hoop. Remember, same way. So I have already stitched my crosshair, and I'm going to just turn off this light so you can see PAL a little bit better. And I'm just using the 4x4 crosshair, but you could use the 5x7. It doesn't matter. If you have PAL, as long as the beam is extending off to the frame, then you're in good shape. Otherwise, you can just use a pen to draw all the way to the edge. And then you apply your rulers by removing that adhesive portion on the back, and then just aligning the 0 with the beam of PAL, or if you drew the line, extended the line with a marker, then you would align that 0 with that extended line. I have already trimmed down my rulers because, I just did that kind of quickly. It's easier to apply when they're already trimmed down. And again, I'm just matching that 0. And of course, these crosshairs are available on my blog. We have the link running right there on the bottom of the screen. So you can go there at any time and download them. And it just makes it super easy to attach those rulers. And so now that I have that all set, I'm ready to stitch. And this is Sticky Stabilizer. This is a sheet that came with it. Now, if I were you, I would stitch that in a very light color so I could use this stabilizer for a project. And if you do that, then just store that protective paper over it to protect it. So what can we hoop in a sticky stabilizer? Well, it's really helpful for things that are impossible to get into either a standard hoop or a magnetic hoop, like slippers. So here I would just stick that down, aligning my template with the beam of PAL. I know that I'm square and center. And then when I attach to the machine, I would center my needle right over that crosshair. I can even do the second slipper in here also. Now remember, I'm most certainly going to have to rotate my design when I get to the machine so that it's going to stitch in the proper orientation. But I like to have the sole of a slipper extended over the attachment, over the pantograph. This is where it's going to attach to the machine. And here I can move over a little bit, center camera, now that we don't need PAL. And then that way, the pantograph and the attachment kind of protect it, and the soles just ride on it. Okay, so that's slippers. But what about a cosmetic case that has a zipper top? It has been designed to be an embroiderable, so it zippers open, and this whole expanse here would lay flat in my hoop. So again, I would place this under PAL, and I would just position that template right underneath PAL, smooth it down in place, and then when I carry that to the machine, no harm, no foul. And keep your packaging that came with the hoop when you are transporting unwieldy items like a cosmetic case or applique. You don't want to put your hand through the stabilizer, so use that to transport it. Another good item, another item that the hoop is good for is ribbon. And, I like to stitch ribbon in the hoop, and I like to conserve my stabilizer. So I would line up one ribbon onto that sticky stabilizer, and I make sure that one end of the ribbon is hitting the ruler at the same position as the other end. And then I can even do 2 pieces of ribbon. Well, of course, this one's upside down. And then I would just do the same treatment, making sure that the edge of the ribbon is hitting the one here on the ruler and back again. And then I would transport these ribbons to the machine all in one piece. And then when I stitch, I've conserved that stabilizer. So easy to do. And when you are finished, you can pull that out, and you'll know you most likely will have a hole in this area, and you can patch this stabilizer. So to patch, you would take a new piece of stabilizer and just apply it to the back of the hoop. And I can turn this over and try to get that under the camera so you can see. I'll remove this. And, you know, you would remove that protective paper from the sticky stabilizer and just position it right over the other piece. So when I do that, I place it right on top, and then I flip it over, and I save this piece and smooth it all down, and then that way I have it all ready to go for my next hooping, and I don't have to worry about it. So we love these new hoops. We're really excited about these new hoops. I think they're going to come in quite handy. And the best part about it is it allows you to keep your snap hoop monster clean, which is really important, right? I hate to get sticky stabilizer on my snap hoop monster. In fact, I never use sticky stabilizer on the back of my monster. I might hoop it, but I don't apply it to the actual metal. So this way, it's really much easier to do, and it's a very reasonable price. So if you've been looking for a nice flat hoop to use for unwieldy items, like I know some people like to stitch on cork, they like to stitch on balsam wood, and you need a flat surface to do that. Those buddies, you know, the embroiderable giraffes and hedgehogs, you know, they're really difficult to hoop also. Great with sticky stabilizer and any kind of other really unwieldy thing. So I hope that if you are a Baby Lock Brother user, remember they come in 5x7 and 6x10, and there is also a refill pack of the stabilizer, because they come with 25 sheets, which is, you know, pretty cool. So June thinks that it is another necessary tool. And Judy Warren, you love that it can be patched. Yeah, and keep the snap hoop monster clean. You know, I'm often using my snap hoop monster for quilting, you know, so there's batting and all of that involved. And, you know, I don't want to get any sticky on that. So let's see, how many layers of sticky stabilizer patching is okay to leave on there? Well, you know, 5 or 6, and then just peel it off. And because you're going to add another layer of patch, you know, another layer of stabilizer, you'll be fine. The beauty is you don't have to clean the hoop. You know, you'll just take it off when you want. But that pre-cut stabilizer is the best, absolutely. And, you know, those unwieldy fabrics like, you know, faux leather, faux vinyl, and cork, you know, those types of things are really hard to hoop, and we don't always want to. So I love it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope you'll give it a try. So I know it's time to show the door, right? So let's do it. Shall we do it? Let's see. I have to get my PowerPoint up here. Oh, but remember, going over to the to my blog to download that handy crosshair. It comes in multiple sizes, but you really only need it on the the 4x4 is fine. Okay, so let's see. We are going to show the door. So this is my favorite of all 7 months. It is my absolute favorite because it reminds me of my childhood. I grew up, a block and a half or 2 blocks from the Atlantic Ocean at the Jersey Shore, as they say. And it is, my whole childhood memories are just filled with that beautiful beach. So this is a surf shack. And it has a patriotic pennant that travels across the top of the shack. It's just red and blue. Of course, it could have been red, white, and blue, but it wouldn't show on the shack itself. And then this month, the door is open because at the house I grew up in with my mother and father and my 5 sisters, my parents had a philosophy that the door was always open, and my parents always welcomed guests and family into our home. And that was a lot of sand that got trooped in and out of that house, right? So we never minded sandy feet for sure. But that open door policy was, still in my heart for sure. So it's a white clapboard just white fabric. It has double stitching horizontally to signify the clapboard. And then you will piece, so let's go ahead and take a look at the steps. You will piece that ocean view. So first thing you're going to do, of course, is, make those tabs. And I'm just showing those same images from our very first door in beige. But, these are the pieces of fabric that hang the door from the wire frame. And super simple to do. And then you're going to piece the ocean view, and it's just, that strip is 2 inches wide, and you'll use sand, water, and sky fabrics. And then once that's pressed, and I like to press the dark, the seam allowances towards the water because that's the darkest color. And then we're going to hoop a cutaway stabilizer and lay down a piece of batting, stitch that outline and trim it away. And then add the sky at the top. There will be notches in that first outline to show you where to place the sky fabric and the sand. And you'll place those pieces down. They are separate colors, and they'll tack them down. And then you can add the shack itself. Now, I did not trim the sky fabric from behind the door, and maybe I should have, but I can live with that little bit of bleed through, but probably a good idea to trim that if you want. And then the next color is the detail of the house. So you're going to have the horizontal quilting stitches for the clapboard, and then the vertical stitches for the eave up near the roof. And the next, it's followed by the pennant, the red and blue. Of course, they could be any color at all. And next you will stitch the placement guide for the ocean view door, the open door, and then place that applique, that piece strip in place, and then trim away that excess fabric. And then you're going to go on to the deck. And that's what you will stitch next, because we want the deck to cover the edge of the door fabric. So that's the next step. And then that's followed by the outline of the door, the satin outline, and the placement guide for the open door, the door that is, propped to open. And that also has vertical detailed quilting stitches in the open door so that it looks, kind of like a wood door. And then a placement guide for the window on the door. And then I just added the white fabric to make it appear that, that was glass, and you're actually looking through that glass door to the clapboard behind it. So as you can see, then, after the tack down, you trim it away and then stitch the satin outline. I also stitched a gold metallic doorknob, and I used my King Star for sure, because I wanted to make sure that I didn't have any problems with it. So, yeah, Carol Lombard, Surf Shack at the Jersey Shore. Sure, I know. Let's see. And Joanne Banco, she says, our in-house sand came a short walk from Lake Erie, but the sand and water bring back beautiful childhood memories too. Yeah. Oh, and I think my stitching sister said she'll definitely stitch that. Well, we're going to talk about her in a little while. Oh, and Jackie Lewis, you're in Newcastle, Delaware. Well, you're not very far from the Jersey Shore, and you have a beautiful beaches in Delaware, for sure. And Fred, I guess it's Connie Beeler. You could see a palm tree. Oh, there's lots of options. I can't wait to see what people do. I can't wait. Okay, after we do the deck, we are then going to add the vertical post on the deck. And a separate color is the outline, and then the horizontal rails for the deck. And it looks like, you'd fall off that deck, but that's because we have a surfboard that's going to come into play pretty soon. You can see the placement guide there on the left for the surfboard, and then the tack down, and then finally the applique. And that is just that white tail at the bottom will be trimmed away. It'll be caught in the seam, as you'll see in a minute, but super cute. Okay, and then the life ring that hangs on the wall, there's so many different options that you could put there. You could put an anchor, you could put a sailboat, you could put a family name, and most certainly the words Surf Shack are a separate color. So if you don't want to stitch those words, then if you have our embroidery tool shed and our micro font, you can add whatever you want, but that is what you're going to have to use is micro fonts. And Joanne, you like the fabric for the surfboard? I know, me too. I love that fabric. I actually designed that fabric myself. It's over on My Fabric Designs. So I love to do that. Lots of fun. And Cindy King. Oh yeah, I always want everybody to, put their own personal touch on these doors, because it's going to live in your house. It should be, symbolic of your life and your family. I just think that makes it so much fun. And the thing that I love about it is, well, here I'm cracking up. I got to share this because, well, Fred Beeler, Connie's husband, says he's listening and he wants a mermaid. Well, Connie, you tell Fred he's already got a mermaid if he's married to you, right? And Misha Pennington says she can't wait to see what Sue from OML will stitch on Saturday morning. I'm sure she's busy already doing that. Okay, so let's go back to PowerPoint, and I have to tell myself, but isn't that fun? Isn't that so much fun? I wasn't sure. Should I add a beach chair? Should I have a bucket with a shovel, some seashells in the sand? I know lots of people might want margaritas, that kind of thing. You could also do a little 3D work where you have a beach blanket hanging over the railing of the deck. I most certainly entertained the idea of using baker's twine and couching over that for the pennants. But sometimes, in my own mind, I have to stop myself and just say, just finish the door. Just finish the door. Yeah. And Linda, you're with me. Linda Barkin. Yeah, I love this. Makes you want to go to the beach. Yeah. Maybe I shed a few tears when I was making this, because I'm in Dallas, Texas. And believe me, there is no beach here. Yeah. Oh, and Glenda, you say don't get it too busy. That's not a bad thought. Not a bad thought. But I have to tell you, I would like a whole row of these shacks, maybe in pastel colors, all a little different from each other. Oh, and here's my stitching sister, maybe handsome lifeguard. All right, Marie, there's your challenge. I want to see if you could find a handsome lifeguard that you could stitch on that shack, right? If not a lifeguard, definitely a surfer dude, right? And Gail, you want to put some fishing poles on there? That's a great idea. A canoe, a kayak, you name it. Oh, and Misha says she likes to see some fireworks in the sky above. Yeah, you could make this a night scene by using a darker fabric for the sky, and then adding some metallic thread for fireworks. And Dory says, time to come back to Naples. Yes, Dory, I'd love to come back to Naples and hand deliver this door to you down at Flash. We love it there for sure. But, next week I have a really exciting time. July is my favorite month because it's my son, his birthday is at the very end of June. And my birthday's in the middle of June. My daughter is at the end of June. So, we kind of kick off birthday month at my house, which is really fun. And but, it always reminds me of the beach. And so I just always go back there. So really on my beach shack, I could have a birthday cake, like sitting on a table and on that deck. Something like that would be a lot of fun, right? So I'm going to jump back over to PowerPoint and just show you again. I want to remind you about the special. It's good all week. And if you, if it goes really well, we're going to introduce it in other sizes and other models and see what people, if they like it. And, then we'll come out with the whole line. Best to do it, in a responsible way. But speaking of July and happy days in July, I'm sure you have seen this image on the internet, and I most certainly couldn't wait to share it here, because next week, my sister Marie Zeno is going to be joining me here on Facebook Live, all the way from Florida. And if you know Marie, through the years, we've done so much work together as the Stitching Sisters. Here we're in Puyallup, having a blast, carrying on in a booth. And this is in Fargo. North Dakota, when we landed at the airport, this is what they sell. And when we land at the airport in Florida, sometimes they have boats, although we haven't climbed in them. But we've had an awful lot of fun through the years. And I hope that you'll join us on Facebook Live on July 2nd. We'll be doing, most certainly showing all the July doors that you have been stitching. And, you know, remember, use that hashtag Dime Door and Dime Sew Along so that we can include your door, your version of it, and all the personalization that you've included. We love to include that here on Facebook Live and share that with everybody. But Marie and I will be talking about placement and for children's items and adult items. You know, Marie is a commercial embroiderer. And she's her business that she's had for almost 20 years now. So she knows how to do, you know, speed techniques, and she knows an awful lot about pricing and bundling products to sell to your customers. And for those of you who don't do it for a business, you'll still learn an awful lot. She's got great ideas for gift making, which is what most of, you know, her customers hire her for, is to make gifts for new babies, and brides, and all those types of things. So we're going to have an awful lot of fun next week, and I hope that you'll join us. And Barbara George, you say you miss my sisters. We're together all winter in Florida, and I guess you're not now. I know. I miss my sisters too. My sisters, I have 5, and Marie and I are the middle children. I am number 3, and she's number 4. I'm just like a week older than her, just about 1 week. No, I'm only kidding. It's quite a few years. But all 6 of us are spread out all over the country, although Marie and our oldest sister now are in South Florida together. So, you know, and during COVID, we've missed a couple trips that we were supposed to get together on, and, you know, just some time needs to go by until it's safe to travel and we'll all be together again. So anyway, so Margaret, you want to know how do you get the doors? Well, the doors are at dzgns.com. Right down here at the bottom of the page, you can see, you know, it's kind of a long link, but if you just go to dzgns.com, you will be able to find that link. And remember, we have them available all the way from January through July, and they will be up all year. We do sell these frames, these wire frames that you can mount your door on. It has a little slit in the center so that you can remove your door. And that's why those tabs are created, so that you can get it on there. But anyway, now I've done that. Well, here's the good one, right? Here it is. How fun is that? It's so cute. Oh my goodness, it's so cute. And so, you know, one of my favorite things about these doors is I get to dig into my fabric stash, right? And look for the right sky, the right water, the right gray. And I do have an awful lot of choices of sky and water, I can tell you. This could have been 30 different fabrics. Of course, you only need a couple inches, so that's all that's required. But doesn't have to be a floral surfboard. You know, lots of surfboards are plain. Many have a center stripe. Hemmed and hawed about what to use, but I love that Hawaiian hibiscus flower. I just love that, symbolic of, kind of the surf world. I had many a dress of that when I was younger. So it brings back lots of fond memories. And so some of you have already downloaded it. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Christine, you did. All right. You were successful. I know our team at Dime is amazing. How they are just, right on it. Everything timing is great. And, often they're waiting for me, but thank goodness they're there. So let's see. Does the hoop work for Husqvarna Viking? Not yet. We don't have it released for Viking at this time. Yeah, and June, Judy Warren, I'm glad you like that. But let's see, June, you say my top matches the doors. Yeah, well, I want to be at the beach. What can I say? Right? Oh, well, let's see. So getting here late, how do you download the door embroidery? So we'll run that link again at the bottom, Claudia. You can see it right there. And just, they're up there all year, all January through July. You can do that. So next week, we're going to have an awful lot of fun with Marie. We're going to talk about placement. We will get serious, but she's not going to actually be in the studio. She'll be broadcasting from her home in South Florida. So, join us. It's going to be an awful lot of fun. Nancy, let's see, you like the door and you really like the new hoops. Hope the multi-needle ones will be released soon. Yeah, I hope so. Okay, and so you can't believe the designs are free. Well, it's really my gift to you. I've been blessed to do what I do here at Designs and Machine Embroidery. I started this company over 20 years ago, and I'm just grateful to still be doing it. And I really like to encourage people to use their embroidery machines, to try new techniques. And I love to see what they can do with software, because I think that's what really elevates your skills when you delve into software a little bit and make these types of projects your own. So that was my whole philosophy and idea behind these doors, why I created this for 2020. And I don't know what we'll do in 2021, but I would love some ideas. If you have some ideas, it would be great to hear what you'd like us to do in 2020. And then Sharon, we did not post any doors this week. We have shown them in previous broadcasts, and we weren't able to find any that were posted this week since the last broadcast. So we didn't do that. And Edward, you missed the magazine. Yep, me too. I do. But in today's environment, it's just not a business that was feasible to continue. So I'm grateful that we're able to connect here and more often, and kind of have more of a conversation than just the printed page. But that really, publishing out of our control. So thank you all for joining me today. It was great to be here. I hope you give that new sticky hoop a try. I know I'm going to love it. And I think that, we'd love to hear your feedback and stitch your door. We'll see you here next week with my sister, Marie Zeno. Bye for now.